tsundere. She's not a tsundere. I misled you, but at first off, she's like, "All right, you're my slave now." After she rescues you, she's like, "You're going to help me," and she's very much, "I'm in charge. You don't matter to me." And over time, she starts to like care for you. She very obviously cares for you until at the end, she basically sacrifices herself to get you and Princess Zelda out of a confrontation with Ganon and tries to take him down herself.
Oh.
It's implied she dies in the final fight, though. She doesn't. She gets transformed into her big tittied goth girlfriend form at the end of the
I
game.
think I remember that
But
from watching someone play it.
yup, big titty goth GF Midna. Oh, she is the best. What? Am I so beautiful you have no words left? All right, there, slow it down.
Damn,
Dude,
bro.
she is, but like, and then when she leaves forever, that's kind of sad. But like, she develops slowly from this character you don't like because she's a pain in your ass and she's kind of full of herself, into someone who you genuinely kind of care for.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. The final character development is Zant, and oh my god, a lot of people hate it, but I think it's fucking brilliant. For the first part of the game, Zant is the most well done villain I have ever encountered. He is intimidating, dark, and mysterious. You see him briefly in flashes, and every time he shows up, he flawlessly achieves whatever it is he's trying to do. He controls everything in the game. You know the shadow beasts are coming from him, and you know he kicked Midna out of wherever it was she came from. And like you you're basically told about his dark power and how he came in and stole the light from all the spirit. Like he literally fucking destroyed the universe and would turn entire swaths of people into spirits. Like he brought
Yep.
down the evil darkness, right? And after the third temple, you have a confrontation with him, and it is fucking beautiful. Link turns around. There's this like it's this screaming noise that gets played a lot in the game whenever there's some dark like beast or something going on. Zant's literally just fucking standing there. It makes the screaming noise. It's the closest thing Twilight Princess gets to a jump. Actually, you know what? It's technically a jump. There are some jump scares in Twilight Princess, but like it's almost a jump scare because he's just fucking standing there. And then you go to fight him, but he fucking knocks your ass out with a wave of a hand. And then, right, you've bothered getting all the Tears of Light to restore this area, and just like you did a lot of work to restore the light to the province of Lineru. So Zant, with a fucking wave of his hand, steals all the light again. He undoes everything you did with just a fucking wave of his hand. Midna tries to confront him. He like does some magical bondage shit, and she's fucking just stuck up in the air. And she's like, "Fuck off, Zant! How dare you?" And Zant's like, "What? Do you want me to return the light?" And he fucking does. Which they're shadow creatures, so they can't live in the light. So Zant, just to fucking mess with Midna, returns the light. Like he literally just fucking steals it and returns it like it's a fucking game. Like this all powerful fundamental force of the universe. And Zant gives so little of a shit about it that he takes it away and returns it just to fuck with the character. Like this guy is bad news and a badass. Just
He's very
like
good.
he literally wipes the fucking floor with you and nearly kills Midna. But by
He just
the
doesn't
end of the
care.
game, he just doesn't care. He's so well done. But after that, you confront him more and more, and by the end of the game, he's pathetic. He is a raving lunatic dancing around like a fucking monkey. He's lost his mind, and people are like, "What the fuck? He was so well done. He was so intimidating, right?" And that's what I think is so fucking beautiful. What they're subtly communicating is that Zant is losing his fucking mind because you're doing so well.
Yeah.
Like slowly, he started out intimidating because he was in control, but over time you have or undone every single one of his efforts, and it drives him fucking insane until Midna dig dugs his ass and literally inflates him until he pops like a fucking helium balloon.
Oh
She
wow.
pops him. It's yeah. And then you find out, oh, Ganondorf was the real big bad all along. But like, I just think the way they did, or what they did with Zant is so fucking brilliant. Because it's this really intimidating character. And like, in the service of Link's character development, in the service of showing you how badass you are, they ruin his, like, you know, all of his intimidation, all the integrity as this badass character, just to, show you that you've broken him. You have overcome the challenges. You become such a badass that this once great dark, like, force of darkness has just devolved into this raving lunatic who doesn't have control anymore. I think that's a really subtle and beautiful way to communicate the story. And that's about as deep as Twilight Princess gets. Otherwise, it's basically just edgier Ocarina of Time with less magic.
Isn't that Majora's Mask?
Honestly, Majora's Mask is something else. It's not edgier. Here's the thing: the Twilight Princess is a heartwarming story with like black paint on it. That's the best way I can describe it. Because Twilight Princess things suck, yeah, but it's not grimdark. At the end of the day, Link is like this ray of light that pierces through the darkness, and by the end, everything's okay. All the problems have been solved, other than like the hundreds of people who died to the Shadow Beasts. So we're gonna gloss over that, and like things are good again. There's gloom and there's darkness, but there's always hope. Majora's Mask, on the other hand, has like these bright pastels and these wonderful colors. But the best way I can describe it is the way Majora's Mask's intro goes, like the start screen.
Yeah.
It starts off with such happy music. It's da 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 da.
Yeah.
It's got the happy music. But as it goes on, like the bass comes up underneath it and it starts moving in these minor chords, and it starts with the half steps, and it creates just this ominous vibe until at the end it cuts to Skull Kid, and like the full ominous vibe of Majora's Mask takes over. And that's the best way I can describe it. Like on the surface, everything is just so happy and fucking wondrous. But the game itself, like Majora's Mask has been described as an allegory for the 5 stages of grief, right? There's actual death. You meet with dead characters. You don't meet dead characters in Twilight Princess. People are implied to have died in Twilight Princess. There's even a scene where one of the people in town talks about a bunch of villagers going to fight off the Shadow Beasts and them not being able to find them, which implies that all the villagers died, right?
Yep.
But in Majora's Mask, you literally talk with ghosts. You meet with people who have died, people who failed to accomplish what they really wanted to. And they'll say, oh, please take my power, can finish what I started. Like Mikau, the Zora who is trying to get Lulu's eggs back. Or basically his girlfriend laid egg. It's fucking weird because they're Zoras, but basically he's trying to be a good dad. You know what I'm saying?
He's trying to be a little guy, yeah.
Yeah, and he fucking dies, and he's like, Link, please, just get him back, you know what I'm saying? And you take his power, and you literally steal his essence. You fucking send his soul away and take his power, right? And there's just so much gloom over everything, because the world is ending in 3 days. There are some people in denial, but most people know that. Most people know that the moon is going to come crashing down on top of their heads. And, the first 2 days, people are alright, but by the third day, there were people cowering, there were people hiding, there were people crying. Fucking mailman is so torn. He's like, I want to leave, but I have to do the mail.
He has to do
it. And there's this sensei who teaches you sword techniques in town. If you talk to him, the first 2 days, he's perfectly fine, but by the third day, he's in his shop, cowering, crying, because he knows he's about to die. Like, it starts off like positive and wonderful and slowly descends into darkness. And it doesn't have to resort to like bullshit darkness metaphors or like some dark force literally encroaching upon the land or like a weird shadow dimension or like black creatures. Twilight Princess would be a lot less spooky if it didn't have the same color palette. Yeah. Like Twilight Princess relies on its art and its colors to kind of set the mood a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
granted, Twilight Princess does have some darker moments, but it's nothing compared to what Majora's Mask achieves with nothing but story and like characters alone. Like it's all in the characters.
Yeah.
And dude, there's some fucking tragic shit going on. Most of it is side quests. That's the beautiful thing. If
Yeah.
you want to ignore everything in Majora's Mask, you can. You can just like save the three giants and move on. But there are so many deeper things going on in Majora's Mask. You know, there's tragedy there. Like, what's his name? Anju and this guy who gets turned into a little kid. They were gonna get married, but this guy got turned into a little kid, and his mask was stolen. Like that, yeah, masks are everything, so they use masks for like marriage things, and it's tragic because she's waiting for him, and at the end of the night, if you don't, like he tries to get the mask back. I think he dies in the attempt if you don't help him. I'm not sure. But like by the end of the third night, Andrew says, "I'm gonna stay here and wait for him." She decides to stay in Clocktown when it's very clear that the moon is going to crash down on them, right? And she's like, I'd rather die than not have waited for him." And even if you do reunite them and they put their masks together, they're like, "Thank you.
That's it.
We're gonna spend our final hours together. We may not have long, but we'll spend what time we do have together." And that's like one of the happiest moments. They've reunited, whatever, but it's still undercut by this impending doom
Yeah.
that's about to reach them. That's I don't know. I've thought way too much about the story and the subtlety of Zelda,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Really interesting though.
I think the older games, some of the 3D games especially, are great examples of just subtle storytelling.
Yeah.
I bet you there would probably be some subtle storytelling in Link to the Past too if I had ever bothered to play it.
Yeah. Just listening to you doing that, I'm getting a really good time on my run right now.
Yeah. You got something else to think about so the goblin in the back of your head can play the video game, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, actually. That's a good way to describe it.
That's very much how I would describe my subconscious.
A goblin.
It's like just a little guy crouching back there, like looking for shiny gold. And sometimes if you're like, "Oh, what number was that?" He'll be like, "Oh, it's this number." Or you're like, "Oh man, where did I put this?" He's like, "It's over here."
Yeah.
Or like, you gotta do something. He's just like, "Here, let me do it." He's just a creepy little guy sitting back there doing shit that you can't do up in the front of your head too well.
Yeah, really well.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Man. You know what's a good game I think would actually be worth getting into?
What?
The Sea of Thieves. I've been playing it a bit. I feel like that could be a game we could actually put some time into.
That'd be kind of cool, actually.
Do you have it at all?
No, but I've seen people play it. It looks really fun, actually.
Yeah. You know what? It is really fun. I'm worried about the gameplay loop getting repetitive, but...
Oh, PB by 3 minutes? This game... that was 16 minutes, and I just got 13 minutes.
Dude, what the fuck did you do?
I was listening to you. You gave me powers.
It's the calming influence of me talking about, like, storytelling and shit.
You want to see my splits? Hold up.
Sure.
Alright, okay, for the recording, here's a Visual Boy Advance. There it is. Okay. That was epic.